Welcome to this new Addon Spotlight. In this Addon Spotlight we're gonna look at the top 5 busiest airports in Turkey. The first one we're gonna look at is Adnan Menderes Airport, also known for its cow code Lima Tango Bravo Juliet. It's an airport which is located in the, I would say, west part or southwest part of Turkey. If we look at it, then we can see it's, I would say, relatively small airport, between brackets, relatively small. It has 2 runways, multiple gates. So let's select one of the gates as departure, gate 41, and then click on fly. So the airport itself is being updated recently on the 19th of April 2022. It has used, I would say, has been updated compared to the default scenery, which did not have any terminal and jetways. What the developer did is he or she used default objects for runways, taxiways, and the parking positions, and the military apron was enhanced. So he did it kind of a smart way, right? To prevent that he needs to, I would say, model a lot of these components himself, or him or herself. So currently it's at version 2.1, and you can download it from Flight Sim 2. And the good thing is it also contains some ground services, right? So let's have a look at it. So this is the airport itself, and we can see that it's, yeah, it's indeed default content, but at least compared to the default scenery, which was, I would say, completely blank, you can see that a lot of detail has been added, including, I would say, parking spots, which you can see over here. And if we look behind us, we can see the 2 runways. So what they did is they added some, I would say, building or some service cars over here, which are waiting for assistance, right? So including some refuel trucks. Say the signs on the tarmac look really cool. That also helps you to figure out where you need to park your aircraft once you are arriving at the airport. The jetways are default. As already mentioned, the rest of the buildings are also using, I would say, pre-created objects. However, it looks pretty cool. If we probably go inside the buildings, we will miss some detail there, but that's not what we expect the developers to create for these kind of content types in most cases. Other than that, yeah, it lays into a nice surroundings, right? A lot of buildings also being added over there, as you can see, although they might not be strictly belong to the, I would say, to the airport itself. So nice things have been added, also including a traffic tower, which we didn't discuss yet. So let's go to it. And this is what's nicely done, right? So you can see that even the traffic tower, maybe not inside, maybe not if we go inside, maybe the trick over there. Yeah, even if we go inside, they've kind of modeled this part. So that's really cool to see. That's what you don't see a lot. Again, runways, etc. are looking nice, but that's kind of expected because it's the default flight simulator content. So this is the airport, which is on spot number 5. As already mentioned, this part which we're flying currently to is the military airport, or the military part of the airport. So let's see what kind of content they added there. It looks like some helicopters are here, including some large C-17s, which is parked here. And some buildings specifically for the military purposes. If we continue here, we can see a lot of more aircrafts have been parked outside, including some jet fighters. Again, this part of is the military part of the airport, right? Which you would say, which contains all kind of static scenery, because those aircrafts will stay there forever. They won't fly away. But it's really nice to see that level of detail. Here ends the review of this airport, which is the aircraft which was on spot number 5, which I would say looks pretty amazing. It's the Izmir Adnan Menderes airport, laying in the, say, southwest of Turkey. Let's see which aircraft is on spot number 4. The airport which is on spot number 4 is Ankara Esenboğa International Airport. As you can see, it lays in the, let's say, northeast of Turkey, close to the city of Ankara, as you can see. So if we zoom closer on the airport, we can see that it contains 2 runways. Multiple gates have been added to the airport, also some ramps over here, some more ramps on the other end. So let's select one of the gates, gate 104, and let's have a look at the airport itself. So the developer corrected the airport per the real life layout, and almost all ramp starts, taxi signs, runways, taxi lines, apron lights, ground markings are matching the official charts and satellite imageries which are available. It's not a custom 3D model, right, but it has been updated. So again, it's using probably the default 3D models which are available. Some of the parts are missing, for example, the cargo area, parking spots, and the car parks, but it has received an update. So let's see once it's loaded to see how much it has been updated. Always curious to see what's the update on these airports. Again, the same thing applies to the airport which we discussed on spot number 5. It can be freely downloaded from Flight Simulator 2. So let's see how it looks like. So this is the airport. You can already see that the default jetways are being used. Again, some nice signs on the floor, right, which the developer already mentioned in his release notes. So that's cool to see, makes it easier navigating. Jetways are looking nice. You can even see some more detail if you fly under them. You can see the, I would say, international arrivals sign. We can see some warning signs here for the maximum traffic and the maximum height of the, I would say, between the road and the jetways. Some static content. This is the crew bus, which has been added here. It doesn't move, so be aware of that. On the roof, we can see some details being added here, like some technical equipment on the roof. If we look at the other end of the airport, this is what the developer mentioned, right? This is probably the parking spots normally, but there's not a lot of traffic or cars being parked over there. If you continue to fly, however, you will see some cars being parked over here. So there is some modeling being done on this piece. So I think it's very smart usage of default, I would say, 3D models and making sure that the airport looks a little bit more realistic. Over here we've got the service part, right, where we can see a lot of trucks being parked here for help, including some pushback trucks, refuel trucks, some smaller buildings, including some, I would say, technical equipment, probably the for the radio beacon equipment, which you need to stay far away from. On this part of the airport, we can see both, I would say, hangars, but also emergency services, right? Emergency services are parked outside, so hopefully I would say they're just parked for, let's say, promotional perspective. Then we arrive at the other part of the airport, which looks a little bit smaller and might be used for smaller aircrafts. In the center of this piece, you can see the traffic tower being remodeled. You can see that it looks kind of pretty static, right? If you look from realism perspective, it would have been nice if there would be more usage being shown on this, because this looks like, say, pretty clean compared to other buildings which are, I'd say, reused from the default content. So a lot of buildings over here, right, including a lot of detail on the roof. If we continue to fly, we can fly to the other part of the airport, which is over here, where we will find some more hangars, probably used for maintenance of larger aircrafts, right? So you can see that this one is, I would say, really large, also containing multiple doors. Some other buildings over here, including some parking spots. This one has been remodeled, right? So it looks like this is also a remodeled building. Not sure where it's being used for. It almost looks like that this is a security barrier, right? Because you can see the security barrier being added here. So even that level of detail has been added to this one. And then on this side of the airport, again, maintenance buildings, some small offices. So let's say a nice update for the airport. It's good that the developer placed some, let's say, remarks about some of the things which he didn't work on. But so I would say it's a good start point, and it at least adds more detail compared to the default airport, which is part of the Flight Simulator 2020 content. So this is the airport which is on spot number 4. Let's see what's on spot number 3. The airport on spot number 3 is Antalya Airport. So Antalya Airport, also known for its ICAO code Lima Tango Alpha India, it lays in the south of Turkey. If we zoom into it, you can see it lays pretty close to several cities, including Antalya, Varsak, and Kochaya. So the airport itself has 3 runways, 2 on this side and 1 on this side, and has multiple, I would say, parking spots and rampages. So let's park the aircraft at gate number 231 and let's see how it looks like. This one has received already several updates. Unfortunately, the latest update is from the 14th of February 2021. So it looks like that there's some more work which I would say needs to be done to improve it even further. It's currently version 0.60 and it has, let's say, a lot of updates, including the ground markings have been completed. Some custom terminal buildings have been added. All the taxiways have been added. Some custom military bunkers have been added lately. Also, it includes the complete HC routes and connected all ramps to the network, which is cool, right? Some fuel farms, some repainting has been done. So a lot of, I would say, optimizations for this airport. The other things which have been done is, I would say, the Asobo jetways. So they reuse that. So that's what you see, I would say, with a lot of developers. They're reusing the 3D models, which will save them a lot of time. So this is the first terminal which we look at again, right? So you can see that this one, I would say, requires still some work because there are signs here, right? So you can see signs on the back, but you can't see signs here. Also, one of the things which, if I look at this building, I would say this part, you can see some usage on it. But the rest of it, I would say, is simply one single color, which would have been nice if they would have had some more realism, because it currently looks a little bit too clean to me, from, I would say, my perspective. If we look to the back, we can see the large city and the nice scenery around us, and we also see the traffic tower. So let's add some more speed to it. So this is the traffic tower which has been modeled, and this is what I mean with usage, right? Here you can see the usage on the traffic tower. The traffic tower itself is completely empty, but you can stand on the roof if you want to, I would say, have a really nice view across the airport, because it's a really big airport, as you can see. As developer mentions in his, I would say, release notes, all the markings for the runways have been added, but also the parking spots, but also the taxi routes have been added here. Here in the center we can see a part which has not been modeled yet. We can see cars being parked here, but the rest of it does require some more attention. Continuing our flight over one of the maintenance buildings and the fuel farm, which is over here. For the fuel farm, the same applies as for the other building which we just looked at. You can see some usage, but I would say it looks a little bit too clean if you ask me, especially comparing it with the other buildings which have been added to the scenery, including a lot of maintenance buildings. This one also looks pretty nice, right? Here you can see some more usage, although it would have been nice if they would add some more usage to the buildings, like the ones which they borrowed from the default scenery of Flight Simulator, like these ones, right? So if we continue our flight, we will arrive at the other part of the airport, which includes also a lot of parking spots here. Maybe this is the cargo part, although no, it's not the cargo part, because here we can see Jetways again. And some more jetways, including the lightning, which has been added to the... so probably if you will fly here in the evening hours, it looks really nice. And you can see that this terminal building, this one, I would say this one looks realistic, right? So this is what you would expect compared to the previous terminal building we looked at. This is the overview, right? So we've got the runways over there, and we've got the runway over here. So if we continue our trip, we should also find some, I would say, military buildings. The rest of the content looks great, right? So it looks really impressive. It's okay. Probably kind of, I would say, special part of the airport with a small building over here. But nothing more than that. So again, looks pretty nice. Wind sack over here. Runway here, and on the other side another runway, and just one airport or aircraft arriving at the airport. So it looks nice. There is still some work to do for this one. A lot of detail has been added, right? So you can see that President Biden has just arrived with his Air Force One on this airport. I wonder what's he gonna do at this airport, but let's see. Maybe we will see it in the evening news later today. So this was the airport, which it was on spot number 3. It was Antalya International Airport, and there we can see the aircraft departing. So probably he was here, but he's, I would say, he's departing from the airport. Really nice airport. Really a lot of detail has been added. So that sets the expectations for the other two, not the expectations, that sets the level for the other two buildings or airports which we're gonna look at. So let's see what's on spot number 2. The airport on spot number 2 is Sabiha International Airport, which is close to Istanbul. So it lays in the northwest part of Turkey, close to several other large airports. As you can see, Istanbul Airport, Atatürk Airport. So it's, I would say, a small airport compared to the other two airports, which are in, I would say, close to Istanbul, right? We can see one runway, multiple parking spots and ramparts. So let's park our aircraft at gate 205, and let's see how this one looks like. So this airport again has been remodeled. It's not finished yet. So the latest modification has been done on the 15th of August 2021. So hopefully some more, I would say, work will be done in the let's say coming weeks/months. Sim update number 9 compatibility has not been confirmed, but based on testing I do think it's compatible, because I didn't, I would say, had major issues with it, at least not that I know of. Doesn't guarantee anything, of course, but I didn't, I would say, had any issues with it while testing it. So that's really cool to see. So let's have a look at this airport, because I'm really curious, because this one and the next one, I would say, I already looked at it, of course, prior to, say, recording this video, and I was surprised by a lot of things. So let's see if you are surprised as much as I am while testing it. Let's see when it has loaded. Requires some more time to load. So what can I tell you more about this one? Oh, there it is. So the airport, you can see a lot of detail, right? So let's go airborne with our drone, and this is the airport from the air. So you can see, let's say, a large terminal building over there, and some smaller ones over there, and then some, let's say, cargo buildings. You can see that some of parts of the airport have not been modeled like these parts. So I would say that's probably gonna happen somewhere in the future, but this one already, I would say, looks nice. We can see the fuel tanks over here, right? This is the other part of the airport, but let's of course start with the gates. If we fly over or fly against the gates, we can see naming is on the gates, default content has been used. If we decrease the altitude, we can see that there are some nice signs over here, but probably if we will fly here you will find more impressive stuff, especially if we go one level lower. You can see that developers spend time on developing content, including for within the gates, within the terminal buildings, I should say. So including some advertising, of course, including some shops. And the way he did it was, I would say, pretty smart, right? He made some pictures of it, which looks really cool. And this is, I would say, almost the full the airport, right? So if we will fly a little bit faster to it, we can go to this part, and you will see that he spent a serious amount of time of developing this content, which I would say is really nice. So this is the check-in, baggage drop, which you can see. The other thing which you might want to say make as a remark is that the signs are not always as clear as you would like them to have, but hey, that might be a decision. I think it already is, I would say, pretty impressive that he has added this to the airport himself, or him or herself, because I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman who developed this content. So really cool to see. Also, if we continue to fly to the other end, you can see that the parking spots, and there's also a lot of remodeling there. You can see that multiple layers of parking and garage, including the, I would say, road to the, I would say, or at least from the main road to the garages have been added here, including some, I would say, it looks like this is some tunnel or something which has been added. So pretty impressive. To be honest, including this part of the airport, right? Including the time which has been spent here, I'd say must have, say, been hours of time being developed or being used to develop this part of the airport. So really cool to see. But enough said about this part. Let's look at the rest of the airport. And the rest of the airport has also been modeled, although in some cases partially, right? You can see the view from here. You can see some other buildings here, some office buildings. And then we continue on the taxi way and the runway. You can see someone tries to depart. This looks, I would say, kind of what you expect, right? Clear signs, no entry on this end, lights with the parking spots. And that will also bring us to the VIP part of the airport, right? The VIP part is over here, so you can use it as a VIP, and you can simply walk into your aircraft and depart. Here are some smaller airlines and probably some rental companies, including maybe some other terminal buildings, including this one. So let's see if this one also contains the level of detail. No, this one is, I would say, probably still work in progress, right? So this one doesn't have the level of detail. We can see the traffic tower also being, I would say, modeled. As it looks like that these windows are all black. I don't expect it to contain any content, so we're not gonna look into it. Continuing our flight to the catering services, ground handling. So all the, I would say, assisting services over here. What do we have here? The gourmet entertainment company, so also used for food, etc. Then we've got the emergency services, as it looks like, because there's a fire truck over here, and then multiple general aviation services. So for the smaller aircrafts is over here. Continuing our flight with our drone, we will arrive at the end of the airport, and there's a small, or pretty, not small, there's a large hangar over here, and a lot of parking spots over here. So really nice what we've seen right now, right? So the tech companies which are performing maintenance, including the coloring here, really nice. My Technic, Turkish Airways, and then we arrive at the cargo part, right? So this is the cargo part, so a relatively small cargo part for an airport, but hey, there is no cargo part. All the signs, again, pretty clear, including the taxi signs. So really impressive airport. This was the Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen International Airport. That was the aircraft which is on spot number 2. Let's see what's on spot number 1. And drum roll. The airport on spot number 1 is Istanbul Airport. Istanbul Airport is probably one of the largest airports in that area. It's close to the Sabiha Gökçen Airport. If we zoom into it, you can see that it's, I would say, pretty large, right? It contains 5 runways, a lot of gates, a lot of parking spots. So let's put the aircraft at gate number D9, and then let's have a look at it. The installation of this one requires some special attention, so be aware of that. Although I would say extracting it only into the community folder should be enough, you might want to add some additional base imagery. You can select out of 2 options, which you can download via Flight Simulator 2. I've only installed the airport itself because I don't want to add too much stuff, of course, to my Flight Simulator installation, because sometimes it has a negative impact of putting too much into your community folder. The airport is currently at version 1.0.1a and has lately, or the last update has been on the 19th of August 2021. So it is already, I would say, a long time ago that has been updated. But let's see how impressive it is. So the first thing I would say, which I would remark, is that all these signs are here, right? So including if you want to, let's say, drive or taxi, sorry, you can see the all the signs here, including, I would say, warning signs. There's a lot of, I would say, time spans on the jetways, although the jetways themselves are probably a Sobo default, but I'd say this part, right, looks really nice. And the cool thing, which I'm going to show you, like with the previous one, the inside has been fully modeled. It might not be, I would say, the level of quality which you would expect, right? Some of the signs are really hard to read, but it's really cool that our developer spends time on doing this, including the detail on the roofs, which we can see, right? Oh, no, don't go too far downstairs, because then we don't see anything. But you can see that he did the same approach as the previous airport which we looked at, right? So simply take some pictures for the Burger King, for example, exchange and tax refund. We can see all jetway, or not jetways, escalators, including all signs, including some smart stuff which has been done, for example, to mark the exits to the other parts of the building. So really cool to see. So let's fly to this wall. That's the easy thing of Flight Simulator, right? We can simply fly to walls. And let's look at the other buildings. So you can see a lot of time again has been spent here, right? So a lot of, I would say, time of developing this content, including the let's say this piece, right, where you can see, you can look to the other building, from one building to the other one. So if you've been there, let me know how realistic it is, but I must say I'm really impressed about this one. So let's continue and fly to the roof, because this is what you get for all the terminal buildings. All the terminal buildings have been, I would say, modeled, also including inside. You can see that the level of detail, right, including, I would say, tunnel here. Let's go downstairs. Has been modeled. It has been done a smart way, again with a picture, or which looks like, which makes it really realistic, but you unfortunately can't fly to it completely, of course. This is the other terminal building. Again, all detail here, including the detail inside the terminal building, but I won't go for all those details because you already saw it in the other one. I would say it's amazing what this developer did, especially with the knowledge that this is, I would say, free content which he provides via Flight Simulator 2. If we look at the other parts of the airport, we can see some, I would say, instruction work is going on. Some office buildings, including a mosque, have been added. This is the part which is probably where the base imaginary is missing, right? It looks like that you're, I would say, driving through the grass or through the woods, but that's probably not the case. Flying to the other side, we can see large air conditioning systems over here, or some cooling systems, probably. Trafos, so that's for electricity. So a lot of detail, right, being added to this airport as part of this, I would say, custom add-on, including parking garages, which are with a lot of cars being parked. Nicely modeled, including the roads to it have been modeled, as you can see here. although at least partially. Some of this is, I would say, default flight simulator content as the cars you can see driving here. So probably adding those base imaginary objects wouldn't hurt, but again, I decided not to do it. If we continue our flight, then we will see multiple maintenance buildings, including those from Turkish Airlines. Some driving cars, right, for services. And then we can see that the airport has been divided into 2 parts, right? This is the, I would say, primary part, and this is the other part, with a lot of construction happening over there, but also I would say a lot of buildings have been added, but it looks like that most of them are only used for, say, providing services or let's say cargo handling. And again, tunnel here with the level of detail we also saw at the other one. So if we continue our flight, we can see that we're arriving at the cargo part with DHL, so my assumption was correct, including the Turkish Post and Turkish Cargo. Again, a lot of detail for these buildings, and then we will arrive at the traffic tower itself, right? So here's the traffic tower. The traffic tower itself doesn't contain anything, and that's something you would expect, right? If we look at the other buildings, but that's not the case. But hey, I'm really, I would say, surprised by all the detail which has been added. And also, it's, I would say, it's pretty nice, right? It's close to the sea, I would say, in the north part of Turkey. So if you want to have, I would say, an airport with a lot of detail, including inside terminal buildings, then this is definitely one you probably want to use. Here ends this review of the top 5 airports in Turkey. All of them are available via Flight Sim 2. I've put the download links in the description of this video. Here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.